Good afternoon. I'm just amazed that I've been doing this stuff for like 50 years. Just crazy. It is kind of in my blood. I always was building stuff, and I evolved, even though I was a biology major, and got into architecture and design and cabinet making, and ran housing and urban development for the city of Philadelphia, and remodeling business, and every aspect, manufacturing, wholesale distribution, every aspect of whatever the kitchen business has evolved to do, I've been involved in, and that's what's made us have create what's known as a performance kitchen. But the more I think back on the influences that have created who we are and our reputation, I think of the very cool mentors that I was exposed to. George Nakashima, the father of modern furniture making, was friends of a guy who I hung out with. We built a sawmill to provide him with his wood, and me being young and curious and all, and reasonably personable, would get into conversations with George in his shop about his joinery, and most importantly his wood selection and understanding the grain. And that was an amazing experience. And then to be gifted with exposure to a very cool human German guy, George Brunschweger, who had a timber wolf and a peacock as a pet. And he was a very, very good technician. He worked in a lot of species of wood and built beautiful casework or cabinetry that involves boxes. And the influence of those two got me into exhibiting with the Pennsylvania Guild of Craftsmen and the Walnut Street Gallery, and I was very, very arty at the time. I also grew up in a house that was designed by a descendant of Frank Lloyd Wright, and his name was Wolfgang Rapp. And the modern architecture and the different roof lines and what people were accustomed to all had a big influence on me. And later in years, I became the custom furniture supplier for the Workbench, a contemporary chain of furniture stores that I convinced needed a custom department, and they gave me a break down in Chestnut Street in Philadelphia while I was building the showroom in Manayunk. And the marketing that I learned from Rubin was incredible. And then I bought the building in Manayunk, and it had a big sign on the door that said, "Please excuse our appearance for remodeling," but what it should have said was, "Please excuse our appearance, we're too broke to pay for the glass." At that time, there was a young painter who became a renowned finisher, who became later a friend, and his name was Tommy Speranza. So between Nakashima and Brunschweger and Rapp and Rubin and Speranza, that's 5 unbelievable mentors. They were the backbone and the DNA of a performance kitchen, of getting value and attention to detail. I believe that at an early age that organization and attention to detail are the keys to success, and that it's my responsibility to let people know that the mundane kitchen that was put in there by a carpenter or an architect who probably never cooked a day in his life really could be looked at from different angles, and also having sensitivity to the needs of the people living in the house, and most importantly to adding value to the home so that when they go to sell it, it still looks good because you used the right products, still works good because you were in consideration of the times and the needs of the modern family. and yeah, just evolution, and just kept growing. I'm proud to say we're still here after 50 years, and even though we have our ways and our methodologies, every job is a unique experience, and every person is unique, and we want to listen to you, hear your story. And yes, we want people who respect our opinion, because we're not going to tell you what to do. We're going to show you the different things you could do, and then discuss the merits of each one, so that you're educated to the point that you make intelligent decisions, and never say in the middle of your project, I love my performance kitchen, but if I had it to do over again, no. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear, you're crazy if you go anywhere else. These people are amazing. So anyhow, it was nice chatting with you. I hope that was informative.